Okay, so today's like content stuff is gonna actually not be too long because Railfence, as I found out, is not that hard of a cipher, and it doesn't even involve math or anything really. It's just kind of like a word puzzle almost. It's like a crossword. You just have to kind of use your eyes to find patterns. So I guess we can get started. Not everybody's here yet, but they won't be missing too much. And then afterwards, we can just do what we always do and do some aristocrats. But anyways, oh, also, this is our 11th meeting, so it should be the end of class. So there won't be a meeting next week, but I do have to get it worked out with the people at like SIO Virtual Headquarters to make sure that they don't auto email you and there's no confusion. Okay, so just looking at this slide, what does it look like the message is? Like, this is one of the most simple variants of Railfence, but looking at it, you can basically see what the cipher is about. So just say in chat, like, what do you think this message is? And if you can't see it right away, just, I guess, look closely. Yeah, defend the east wall, right? It's not super hidden well. And this isn't necessarily how you would see the ciphertext in Railfence. This is how you would encrypt. Like, this is part of the solving process, if you will. So how you would actually see it, I'll type this in chat. This is how you would actually get the ciphertext. Oh, oops. So if you get that kind of message, like obviously it's a little bit harder to see like that, but there's just a really simple method you can use given the number of rails. So it's called the Railfence cipher. So obviously like rails has something to do with a name, but rails here really just means the number of rows. Because if you look at what we have in front of our eyes, it's a table, right? So you have like, hold on, let me count. Defend the east wall, 7, 11. I think you have 17 columns because you have 17 characters in the message because you don't count the spaces. And then you have 2 rows. So your 2 rows are what you call rails. So you would say in this problem that you have 2 rails. So basically what Railfence is if I give you what I typed in chat, like that gibberish thing, and then I tell you it's a Railfence cipher encoded with 2 rails, uh, like at the end of this lesson, you should know what to do in order to decode. And it's actually not that hard, even though that looks like pretty much unintelligible. So in order to know how to decrypt, we got to know how to encrypt, right? Because decryption is really about backtracking the encryption. So here, if you want to encrypt something with Railfence, you basically just, you take a message and say my message is, I like pizza very much. Obviously, like that's just a random message. You can choose anything. And now you choose your number of rails. And let me go back a slide. Like I said before, the number of rails, it really just means you're making a table and you're choosing how many rows you want. And you can see how the encryption pattern is in this zigzag. Choosing the number of rows really just means like how many letters are going to be in one of my zigzags. So here I'm choosing 4 rails. And once you choose your message and your number of rails, basically you just have to make that zigzag pattern. And it's easiest to do it in a table. So how you would do this is, you know your number of rails, right? So I wrote this information on a different slide actually, but if I call, hold on. So what I'm going to call one zigzag is I'm going to say starting from the top row and then going to the second highest row. So it's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letter sequence. I'm going to call that one zigzag. So in total here, there's 1, 2, 3 zigzags. And then we would have 18 total letters because 6 times 3 is 18. And you can actually have an incomplete zigzag. So like, let's say I wanted my message to be, I like pizza very much, okay? Then I would just continue this by putting an O here. I put a K, A, Y. And even though I don't have a letter here or here, in order to make a complete zigzag, it's still okay. Hold on, let me erase that. Yeah, so basically, you know how many how many columns you need to have in your table. Like if I make this a table, I'm gonna erase everything and then make it a table actually. You know how many columns you need to have in your table because you can just count the number of characters in your message. Because you can see how there's only one letter per each column. So I like pizza very much. I has one character, like has four, so that's five already. Pizza has five, so 5 plus 5 is 10. Very has four, much has four. So 10 plus 4 plus 4 is 18. So we have 18 characters in the message that we want to send. So that means we need 18 columns. And then we need 4 rows because obviously like we're just told that we're going to be using 4 rows. So you would set up your table like this. So that's 4 rows by 18 columns. And then it might be confusing, like if you didn't have the letters written in already, it might be confusing how many letters are in like one zigzag, because like you would obviously need to get the number of letters right in order to encrypt correctly. And like when you're doing it backwards, you need to decrypt correctly. But there's this formula. It's actually 2n minus 2. So if n is your number of rails, then you will have 2n minus 2 letters in each zigzag. And remember that what I'm calling one zigzag is from the top to the second highest row. So basically, it looks like a backwards check mark. Because like this side has to be slightly less higher than this side. It's going one row below this side. So that's what I'm calling one zigzag. So we can see that our n here should be 4 because that's how many rails we're using. So 2 times 4 minus 2 is 6. So we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, or 4, 5, 6 letters in this zigzag. So that's how we know how to encrypt. And then once you have this table set up, how you like finish the job and write your ciphertext is you just look left to right, top to bottom. So here you can see like this is my final product of encryption. And how I get that is I just read from left to right. So I, R, and then there's no letters left in this row. So you just go to the next row. L, P, Z, E, Y, H, next row. I, E, Z, V, M, C, next row. K, A, U. Yeah, so that's how you do encryption. You'd never have to do encryption on a test, I think. I think it's only decryption, but it is helpful to know because you kind of need to know how to encrypt in order to decrypt. Okay, so here, we're given this ciphertext. So what we just did was reading the thing left to right, and then when we ran out of letters in a row, we just went to the next row. That's what this is. And then we're saying that n is 4. We have 4 rails or 4 rows in our table. Yeah. So if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we have 28 characters, so that means we should have a 4 by 28 table. And if you don't know like table notation, 4 by 28 just means 4 rows by 28 columns. It's always rows times columns. Yeah, so here we will have a 4 by 28 table, and just remember this formula that there's 2n minus 2 characters in each zigzag. So once again, we have 4 again. So we have 6 characters per zigzag. So basically, here, I'm going to go over to the next thing because it should be animated. That's our 4 by 28 table. And this is basically how you set it up. So what you do is first you just make the blank table 4 by 28. You wouldn't have any of the dashes or the letters in there yet. And then what you do is you start from the left of your ciphertext. You put the first letter in, so T. And then what you do is you know that there are 6 characters in each zigzag. So what you would do is you would just map out the path that you would eventually need to take. So because I know there's 6 characters, this T is the first one. And then I need to use 5 more because 6 minus 1 is 5. I need to use 5 more to eventually get to this second highest row. And I know that I only have 4 rows to work with. So basically, I go down 1, 2, 3, and then I go up 1, 2. So 3 plus 2 is 5, and then 5 plus 1 is 6. So that's how I know that I used 6 characters in my zigzag, and that's how I can check that I built my zigzag correctly. So basically, you put the first letter in, which is T, and then you complete the zigzag with the appropriate number of characters, and then you put your second letter in, which is E. So you just keep doing that until you run out of space inside your table. So E, 6 letters later, K, 6 letters later, O, 6 letters later, O. So you can see how we used 5 letters of our ciphertext already. So what we do here, any blank spaces in our table, basically like anywhere there isn't a dash, we're completely ignoring. That is going to just be empty space because eventually we're going to have our message spelled out like this. And we're just going to need to read in diagonal lines. And anything like in the middle in these empty spaces, there's just going to be nothing. It's not going to be of any use to us. Okay, so basically we have T, E, K, O, O. So H is obviously our next letter, but where am I going to put this H? If somebody can just tell me in chat. After the first row, really? Yeah, Aryan, right after the T, I agree with you, but like where positionally? Like, can you be more specific? Oh yeah, so what I was saying was after the first row, like that's really when you do the hard work in Railfence, and then after that, it's really just filling stuff in. Yeah, it's second row, second column. Nice. Yeah, so remember what I just said. Anything that doesn't have a dash in it, which you just put the dash there to let yourself know that you're only using those diagonals. Anything that doesn't have a dash in it, you're not going to put a letter. So basically, you just look for where the dashes are, and then you keep reading left to right again. So there's a dash here. So R, A, C, I, R, M, N, R. And then, so we stopped here, right? Because we just ran out of space in the table. And then we just start new again. So E, A, T, A, N, F, T, E, T, Y, T, G, H, H. Okay, so now we're completely done with the decryption process. We just need to realize what the message actually is. So if anybody can just type in chat what they think it is. And it is kind of like a patristocrat in that you don't have the spaces given to you. So you do have to use some like context clues sometimes to figure out what the message is. Yeah, so it's they are attacking from the north. Yeah, so you can see how it's actually pretty simple if you're given the number of rails. But if you're not given a number of rails, so that would be a cryptanalysis problem, just like how in VisionArray, if you're not given the keyword, it's called a cryptanalysis problem. So if you're not given the number of rails, you would just kind of have to do some trial and error because they do have to give you a range. So for this problem, they might have said decode this thing given a number of rails in between 2 and 5. That's when it kind of just comes like annoying, right? Because it's not hard. It's just like you have to test everything between 2 and 5 until you get an actual message. Okay, so this one, there's no like further hints on the slide. It's just for us to do. So how should I start? How do we do the practice previously? What did we look at first? Yeah, there are 4 rails. So what does that mean for later? Like, what does the number of rails mean in our solving process? Oh, yeah, yeah. So 6 characters per reverse check mark. Yeah, I like the way you put it. So yeah, I'm just going to keep calling it zigzag because I think that's what I've been saying this entire day. But we do have 2 times 4 minus 2 equals 6 characters per zigzag. There's also one more thing we can do with a number of rails. If you guys need a hint, it's how we actually like solve the cipher, like how we visualize it. Yeah, 4 rows. So obviously, if we're talking about rows, we're making a table. So can somebody tell me how many columns we're going to need? It might be I mean, you might just get it wrong because you missed a letter, but it's okay as long as you're in the range, and then we can check afterwards. Yeah, so if I wasn't clear, somebody please tell me the number of columns we should use. All right, I have a number in my head. I'm not completely sure if I counted correctly, but I think I should have. Yeah, I got 47. I think I'm just going to count again. Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Yeah, so 47. Oh, oh yeah, I can see how that would break concentration. Okay, yeah, so I think it is 47. So hold on. Let me let me make sure I didn't already make a table in the slides because I hope I did because I'm not trying to. Oh, I guess I didn't. So yeah, I guess I will make a 4 by 47 table then. Oh geez. Yeah. So you can see how test writers wouldn't usually give you super long messages, but I guess they might. I'm gonna move the 6 characters per zigzag thing somewhere else so we can have the full space to work with. Okay, so we know we have 4 rows because 4 rails. So this can be like, well, I don't know how you guys draw tables actually. Usually I don't draw like bottom and top lines on mine because I feel like they're just kind of repetitive, but I guess we'll see. So like usually my tables look like more like tic-tac-toe boards than like closed tables, if you know what I mean. But I guess I just drew them. Yeah, I drew one too many anyway, so it's fine. 2. Okay. I'm trying to pace myself for 47, but I might use too many. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm running out of space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Might have to lengthen this a little bit. So I just did 4 10s, so that was 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'll just put the 7th one at the end, even though it's not enclosed. Okay, what do we do from here after we just went through all that? And just to be clear, we're only going to be using these middle 4 rows because I did accidentally like do too many lines. Yeah, start with the top row. So what should I put where? Like what's the first thing I should put and what's the position I should put it in? Yeah, so I should put A because it's my first letter in the top left. And then we're working in zigzags, right? And we have 4 rows to work with, and we established that we have 6 characters per zigzag. So that means we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the A is the first one technically, so 5 plus 1 is 6. And then we just did 1 zigzag. So what do I put in this next box over here? T, yeah, nice. Yeah, so we just keep going. E, K. Oh, geez, they're getting kind of thin. T, D, oops, I almost put in the wrong spot. R, F. Okay, so we ended with F and then we have that incomplete zigzag, but that's fine. So we just go to the next row again. So what is the next letter I'm writing and what cell should I put it in? So far we have ATE, KTD, RF. So if I get rid of these dividers, we've gone through here so far. Yeah, so what should I do next? B in row 2, column 2. Yeah, exactly. So B, and then we just continue doing the same thing, reading left to right. A, C. I'm trying to figure out how to include this dash inside the K. I guess I can't. J, E, O, A, D, E, and we're done with that row. So it's just a process on, and you just, after the first row, you just pretty much need to remember not to put stuff in the wrong spot, always to stick where your dashes already are. So I, F, H, C, C, U, D, S, U, P, V, R. Yeah, and obviously if you're working with limited space like we are here, it does become a little bit hard to see. So you might want to, I don't know, use a really big piece of paper or just write small but like neatly in the beginning when you start this. Yeah, honestly, I can't read that towards the end, so we're gonna have to do some guesswork. I-E-N-E. So we ended up here. So we have G-I-L-A-M-E-L-C. Okay, now the hard part. A big fat chicken clucked as it jumped over a railed fence. Okay, hold on. Since that's kind of hard to read, I'll also just type this in chat. So it says, oh, what? That's weird. Chicken clucked as it jumped over a railed fence. So yeah, sometimes Railfence ciphers actually do incorporate references to like fences or like rails, just because like people think they're clever by like doing some kind of meta reference. Hold on. Yeah, so that was a 4-rail run, 4-rail one. Obviously, that was a little bit involved, a little bit, I wouldn't say scary, but like time consuming. So I just have this 2-rail one that we can do a little bit easier. But the catch is like, you have to tell me what I'm doing. Since this is an easier one, like you guys act as the mind and I'll just act as the pencil. Or actually, I think you can just annotate anyways. So go ahead and annotate because I'm pretty confident that you guys can handle this one on your own. So no hints from me, just work together. Well, I guess I might give hints if you guys get really stuck, but try to like talk to each other in the chat or something. Make a strategy on what to do first. And then after this, there's not that much to Railfence, so we'll just be doing some fun stuff with the aristocrats. Oh yeah, nice. So Aryan got the number of columns. So I guess somebody get the number of rows and then one person can like make the table. Yeah, nice. It's 2. Yeah, honestly, one person making the table is probably best because if you all try to like add some lines, it might get kind of chaotic. So yeah, just to, I guess, delegate it to somebody. And then there's one more piece of information you need to figure out, right? Oh, I probably should have used those when I was making my table. Okay, yeah. So while Julie's making her table, somebody figure out the third piece of information, the third and last piece, in order to make a correct table. In order to, I guess, do it correctly. I don't know how to not give a hint, but also like say what it is. What did we need a formula for before? Or actually, now that I think about it, you really don't need the formula. You just need to put the dashes. Yeah, I think your sister's right, Ethan. Oh yeah, so what I was saying was like you don't really need the dashes, or that's not what I was saying. You don't really need a formula because you pretty much just go left to right and then you do dashes up and down until you just reach the top row again. So as long as you like don't put too many dashes. Yeah, it's basically two. Yeah, this one you can pretty much just read too. Like I'll show you a strategy for two row ones after that you wouldn't necessarily have to make a table. But for now, go ahead because you guys are doing good. Hold on. Fywyit. Yeah, I think the letters in yellow should be different. Yeah, yeah, you guys are back on the right track. Oh yeah, I think you do need to be clear on the number of rows. I think the yellow D is in the correct place because this table doesn't have like the lines on the ends. It's just like a free or an exposed table. So the D is probably correct on the end, and then you can stop or start after the D. Oh no, don't worry about it. That's how I do tables anyways too. It's just like everybody does it differently, so it's hard to communicate if multiple people are doing it. Yeah, nice job. So it says fly away, little bird. And the thing I was talking about earlier, because this is two rails, I mean, technically you could do this with any number of rails, but with two rails, it's easier to visualize. Hold on, let me get my drawing tool. Yeah, so you basically divide the message into two equal lengths. Since this is an odd number, you can't actually do equal lengths, but you just give the larger number to the first row. So basically you divide it 9 and 8 instead of like 8 and 8 if it were 16. And then what you do is you just look at the first letter, second letter, second letter. So you can just kind of write it out. So like FL, and then you look at the second letters, YA, and then you look at the third letters, WA, and then so on. Yeah, technically you can do that with any number of rails, but it's just easier to see if you have two. Okay, yeah. So that's basically all there is to Railfence. There is cryptanalysis, but it's more like trial and error than hard stuff. So uh, you are pretty much walking away from this like 30-minute session with all the tools you would need. And then for the rest, we're just going to do some cryptograms.org. Whoops. All right. Hold on. Okay. I see, I guess, like two different places to start here. You can look at the one letter word, or you can look for a certain word. Yeah, I think the one letter word is I, just because like L isn't super common. And I mean, it's more about what D is than what L is. But I mean, you guys know that there's only I and A, so I'll just fill that in. The reason I was thinking that L is I and D is A is because we have this word here and this word. But what could DCC be? All, yeah. Oh, I think I know this word. I mean, this quote. Oh, yeah. Okay, if you guys didn't know, Bob Hope was like a comedian back in the day, so this quote is a joke. Where else could we go? Liar, yeah. Uh, I see, I guess, three different words we could tackle. Two of them are right next to each other. These are two of them. And the, yeah, nice. So the, I can, basically, like if you do enough cryptograms, you can kind of just see the word pattern of the. Usually, like the first and third are pretty similar in that they're really common, and then the middle letter, the one that should be H, drops off a little bit. So 12, 5, 13, you know, it just looks visually pleasing after you've done enough cryptograms. And then this looks like and because it can't be like R or something because E is already taken. And it could be like any, but in this case, any doesn't make sense before the. So and the is good. All right. And now it's just about like picking up the pieces of what we have left. So I guess you guys can look in different places. Yeah, my father. Oh, I guess I kind of like spoiled what that was, so I'll just put it in. Father told about birds. Yep. With. And then we have this word you don't see very often in a quote. So remember that the context is the birds and the bees. Okay, yeah, I'll just read the entire quote if it like stimulates your brain too. So, my father told me all about the birds and the bees. The liar, I went steady with a till I was 21. I went steady with a wood till I was 21. Looks like this is stumping us. Wood Penter. Good guess. It's not wood Penter though. You do have one letter right from there, but we did use N and T already. Oh, I guess I keep spoiling things when I say that. So you do have P right. I wonder if this helps us. Yeah, woodpecker. Yeah, so obviously it's a joke. Okay. There's a lot of contractions we can look at here. And contractions do actually give lots of hints about the words surrounding them. There's also this word, which you can probably get if you get the first contraction. Or you can just get this contraction because it's probably more obvious. Theirs, yeah, nice. So you basically apply the their word pattern, which is that third and fifth letter matchup, and then you realize it can't be like, well, it could be theired, like there would, but theirs is obviously like 100 times more common than that. All right, so there's a lot of ways we could go about this now. Yeah, don't. Usually, if a word that's a contraction starts a sentence, it's kind of like a command most of the time, so it's usually a don't. Don't ever anything. Yeah, nice spotting that. Sell mankind. Yep. By we're almost there. Can't. Yeah, nice. Okay. I'd say don't get fooled by this word because you might think it's something that you recognize, but it's not. Yeah, it's a word that has the pattern that you might recognize, but it's not that word. I can see what the word is from this word, just because I and I match up on the ends, but that's like very esoteric, if you know what that means. Like it doesn't happen that much. So for me, I would just probably start with this contraction. Or you can figure out what D is, because it's a single letter. It's not. Wait, Julie, what do you mean? Because I'm pretty sure it is what you said. Oh no, I'm pretty sure you guessed right. Yeah, I just didn't get what your text meant. So I'm pretty sure it's your. Because the reason you can be kind of sure is that you see your as in you are here, and then you get the possessive your in a different place. And like the rest of the quote, nothing is messed up. So usually when you have three letters and then two letters, as in like separated by the apostrophe, it's some kind of a version of you are or you have. So your or you've. Board is actually a good guess. We did use the E, but it's using context, so it was pretty good. You might be able to get like this phrase because you kind of already know what D is, right? And then I don't know, that O might signal something to you. Maybe it'll be easier to see if you, well, first of all, here, we can just do this. What's D? Any takers? Yeah, it is ground, actually. Does that help you with this word? It's maybe a little hard to see because words like that don't happen that much in English. Pretending, nice. Or maybe we can get this phrase now. Or J, since we kind of have it. Yeah, is not. And then we already used I, so I'll just put the A here. So what I was going for earlier is because you saw this O in the middle of the word, and even though you didn't have anything, yeah, way of, even though you didn't have anything, you knew D had to be A. So and is usually like the second word in a sentence, or not usually, but it's very common. So is not was Pretty good way to guess. Okay, what's this? To the moral high ground, yeah. And what I was saying very early when we were solving this is this might have looked like the that word pattern to you, where the first and fourth matchup, yeah, hypocrisy, but it's not that. It was high, and the way I confirmed that it was high just in my brain is because I saw it getting as well, because the G's match up and then the T's repeat. All right, what's this word? Nice. This is a little tougher. I see one thing that we could try. I don't know how to like communicate this without giving it away. But basically, you see that this P ends two different three-letter words that are in succession. So think about three-letter words that you can put next to each other that end in a common letter. That was kind of a mouthful, but I think you'll get it. And you can also see that RLP happens twice in the quote, if that means anything to you. Yeah, nice. That's what I was going for. I don't know if it's right. Oh, never mind. I see it. Yeah, it's right. Okay, so if we have R, what does that mean about the word before R? Yeah, nice. The rest is really gonna just be some guesswork, like unless you can just see it right away. Let's see. Probably getting this word is the easiest way. You can either see that, or well, does A have to be a vowel or a consonant? Anybody? Yeah, vowel. So we used A, we used E. So of the remaining three vowels, what doesn't look horrible in that position? That's usually a good way to go about things. Like if you put something in a position and it just looks not good, then you can be pretty sure that it's not that letter. But of O, U, and I, which letter looks like it might actually fit? Maybe O. Okay, so I'll put an O. But then what does this letter, I mean, what does that word look like now? Does it look like possible? Yeah, I'm thinking like it's really hard to make a word that looks like that, right? So it's probably not O. So you can actually just do this with all the vowels and then like erase every time you see that it doesn't work. Is T C? I don't, oh, actually there is a C in here, but it's not T. Wait, is there a T in this quote? Where's the T? Oh no, that was a good guess because you know that T has to be some consonant, right? Because it has to make a something H consonant pair. It's not T, but you're on the right track because you're thinking about what can pair with H. Okay, back to this A though. We eliminated O because it looked weird. Let's just try the other ones. Does U look good or weird? Don't be afraid to be wrong too. Just go with your gut. Yeah, it looks weird, right? So what if I put an I? Yeah, diseased. There you go. So you pretty much just put random stuff in until you see what works. Okay, maybe we can get the first word now. Or even the fourth word if you're really good at seeing stuff like that. Here, what does U have to be? It's actually a little bit easier to get U because we know a letter can't go to itself, and we know U has to be a vowel. So what's left? Anyone? Just run that through your mind again. U looks like it has to be a vowel, and it can't go to itself. So think about what vowels we've used and what's left. Oh, yeah. Maybe that makes the first word even clearer. Words, yeah, nice, Ethan. So basically, kind of just, I was going to say there are multiple ways to go at this, but you kind of just have to know what the words are because they're all like 1 or 2 letter words. Um, so words are the something something, the diseased something. What are we thinking this O 2 letter word is? O something 2 letter word. Of, yeah, that's what I was going for. I mean, I don't know how to hint anything. Pretty much, you just have to do a lot of these until you can see uncommon words. Ooh, mind. Yeah, you got mind. This word might be a little hard to see, though. Never mind. You got it. Physicians. Yeah, so I'm just going to pause here for a second. This is what I was talking about, where you knew you knew that T had to make a pair with L in order to make it something H pair. So you could have gone with like C, S, P, T, but like some of those were already used, right? So you just kind of had to cycle through all of them. Oh, this is a common opening. Look at the first 3 words. See if you can recognize anything. The first 3 words is a common phrase. All right, it looks like we're stuck. How else would she tackle this? Okay. So when we were doing patristocrats, we talked about common 2 letter occurrences, like 2 letters that usually appear next to each other in a certain order, no matter what the word is in. What's the most common 2 letter sequence in English? If you remember. It's a consonant and a consonant, by the way. It does not include a vowel. Just think about words that you use in everyday life, or even like think about the sentence that I just said and see if you see any 2 letter sequences that pop up. Yeah, now that I'm actually thinking about what I'm saying, it's popping up a lot in my speech. Maybe I should slow it down. Are you sure you're thinking hard enough? There is a definite answer. Here. Maybe we just need some time to... Oh, what's the question? What's the most common two-letter sequence in English? And then I gave the hint that it does not involve a vowel. So it's a consonant and a consonant. And you can see what I'm going for is that you see ZN here and you see ZN here. So basically I'm saying that it pops up a lot. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Thanks. TH. And the reason you can be fairly confident in that is because you have this A here. So what should A go to? E. And then what does the beginning look like if we can see it now? We should actually just like know what J is too. And maybe the last word, but that doesn't help us as much. Here, what's J? One of, yeah, nice. So what I was going for when we originally opened this thing is I was saying that the beginning looks like one of the, yeah, so how you can recognize that, nice people. How you can recognize that is you have the E repeating in one and the, and you have the O repeating in one and of. Okay, what does this word look like? The one that starts with TH and has an N in it. Things, yep. And I think you guys can just finish this without any more hints. Worst, yeah. It's, are you sure about the word you said after it? Think about what else this could be. Yeah, it does. What? Yep. And I think we can do one more after this. About, yeah. Yep. We got it. All right, last one. Here I would look at this word. It does actually happen twice. So how you can see what the word is by the W repeating in the second and fourth positions. And W is super common and O is not common at all. Maybe we haven't covered this word pattern as much, but I feel like we've seen it before. What is W in either case? Because like nothing is competing with W besides K for its frequency, right? But one of them is decisively a letter that I'm thinking of in my mind because the other one just can't be that letter. So what is W? It's okay to guess. You can be wrong. Yeah, E. That's what I was going for. So the reason I was saying K couldn't be E is because you have this two Ks in the middle of the word and then ending the word with a K as well. And you couldn't really put E and expect to make a word that makes sense there. Like you could get freeze, but that doesn't happen in quotes. Does getting E help you see what this word pattern is? The one where E appears in the second and fourth position? Never. Yeah, nice. Yeah, R isn't a super common letter, but there are some weird quotes where you get not so common letters that happen a lot. It just like it happens by chance sometimes. Yeah, never be. What's a word that could come before never? Like something blank never be. Actually, using context, you could actually get what I is, or you could just get what this entire word is. Terror, nice. Yeah, I is D. Because if you think about just saying expressions with never, you always say like, I would never be scared. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something. But like you always, after the never be, you always have past tense. Uh, it's not injured because the word looks slightly different, but good guess. Oh, I completely missed this word. This is also a common word pattern. Oh, you see this word twice, by the way. It's always before a never be. So it's saying terror blank never be something something terror. Like it's a command, right? Because you're saying never. So what four-letter word do you often use in commands? Must. Yeah, nice. And maybe that clears up what this word is because we got that S. Actually, this might be a word that you commonly misspell in everyday life. So it's, yeah, it's, oh, there we go, on cue. So it's a good idea to know how to spell it. So the W does come after the S, even though like that was slightly different. Yeah, so I think we're almost there. Warfare, yep. Against, nice. Yeah, that's what I was going for, the against word pattern. Civilians, yeah. This is a slightly weird expression. You don't see it used a lot, but we can get this word first. It's not in hind, although that is a good guess. Because we do have to use that H somewhere else. Yeah, with, yeah, you might not have even seen this expression in your life before. Yeah, kind. In kind basically means like with the same response. So it's basically saying like don't respond to warfare against civilians with warfare against civilians. Okay, yeah, that was kind of a heavy quote, so we'll back out of there. Yeah, so today was the 11th week, which means it was our last week together. So basically what that means is that we're not going to have any lessons in the future. You're still going to have all the resources available to you through the Google Classroom. Sometime in this like coming week, I'll post a survey there. It's just like a regular end of course survey. I just don't have my hands on it yet. So if you could fill that out, that would really help. But here, I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah. So for now, it's goodbye, unless you come back to take another class or something like that. But see you guys.